On a cold November morning in Sacramento, California, 8-year-old Emma Rodriguez had been missing for 16 hours. Her frantic parents had called every friend, searched every park, and filed a police report that sent shockwaves through the community. But what happened next? When Officer Marcus Chen and his K-9 partner, a German shepherd named Thor, spotted that same little girl in the back of a stranger's car, would become the most extraordinary rescue story our city had ever witnessed. This is a story about courage, intuition, and the unbreakable bond between a man, his dog, and a child who refused to give up hope. But before we dive in, if you believe in stories of everyday heroes, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that miracles still happen. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. November 14th started like any other Tuesday for the Rodriguez family. Emma, a bright-eyed third grader with pigtails and a gap-toothed smile, kissed her mother goodbye at 7:30 a.m. and skipped toward Roosevelt Elementary School, her purple backpack bouncing with each step. Maria Rodriguez, Emma's mother, watched from the porch as she always did, until Emma turned the corner 2 blocks away and disappeared from view. It was their routine. Their neighborhood was safe. Nothing bad ever happened on Maple Street. But Emma never made it to school that day. When the school called at 9:15 a.m. to report her absence, Maria's heart dropped into her stomach. She immediately called her husband, Daniel, who left work without a word to his supervisor. Together they retraced Emma's route, calling her name, their voices growing more desperate with each passing minute. By 10 o'clock a.m., they were at the police station, filling out a missing persons report with trembling hands. Within hours, Sacramento rallied. Volunteers plastered telephone poles with Emma's photo, that beautiful school picture where she wore her favorite yellow dress with sunflowers. Social media exploded with shares and prayers. Local news stations interrupted their regular programming with Amber Alerts. But as the sun set that evening and Emma's empty bed remained untouched, hope began to fade like the last light on the horizon. Statistics haunted the Rodriguez family. The first 24 hours are critical in missing children cases. Every hour that passed reduced the likelihood of finding her safe. Maria couldn't eat. Daniel couldn't sleep. They sat in Emma's bedroom, surrounded by her stuffed animals and drawings, holding each other and praying for a miracle they weren't sure would come. Meanwhile, at the Sacramento Police Department, Officer Marcus Chen was beginning his 6:00 a.m. shift. A 12-year veteran with the K-9 unit, Marcus had seen his share of heartbreak. But cases involving children always hit differently. As a father himself to a 7-year-old daughter named Lily, he understood the Rodriguez family's terror on a visceral level. His partner, Thor, a 3-year-old German shepherd with intelligent amber eyes and a nose that could detect scents from miles away, sensed Marcus's tension. The dog pressed against his handler's leg, a gesture of solidarity and readiness. "We're going to find her, boy," Marcus whispered, running his hand through Thor's thick fur. "We have to." The briefing was grim. Detective Sarah Williams laid out the facts. Emma was last seen at 7:32 a.m. by a neighbor. No witnesses had come forward. No surveillance cameras had captured anything useful. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. But Marcus had learned something in his years on the force. People don't just disappear. There's always a trail, always a clue. Sometimes you just need the right set of eyes, or in Thor's case, the right nose, to find it. As dawn broke on day 2 of Emma's disappearance, Marcus and Thor joined the expanded search grid. K-9 units from 3 neighboring counties had arrived to help. Helicopters with thermal imaging cameras circled overhead. Dive teams prepared to search nearby waterways, a possibility everyone dreaded but couldn't ignore. Marcus started at the last confirmed location, the corner of Maple and 5th Street, where Mrs. Patterson, an elderly neighbor, had waved at Emma from her garden. Thor immediately picked up a scent trail, his nose working furiously as he pulled Marcus eastward, away from the school. This was wrong. Emma should have turned west toward Roosevelt Elementary. Good boy, Marcus encouraged, as Thor led him down an alley behind a row of small businesses. The dog stopped at a dumpster, circling it twice before sitting, his signal that he'd found something significant. Behind the dumpster, partially hidden beneath discarded cardboard boxes, Marcus found it. Emma's purple backpack. His heart sank and soared simultaneously. It was evidence of foul play, but it also meant Thor's instincts were right. They were on her trail. The backpack was rushed to forensics. Inside, they found Emma's homework, her lunchbox with an untouched peanut butter sandwich, and a small notebook where she'd been practicing her cursive. But there was something else. A partial fingerprint on the zipper that didn't belong to Emma or her family. Detective Williams ran it through the database. The match came back within an hour. Gerald Thompson, 43, a maintenance worker with a previous conviction for child endangerment from 8 years ago. He'd served his time, completed his registry requirements, but something about this felt wrong. Thompson's last known address was an apartment on the east side. When police arrived, neighbors reported he'd moved out 3 weeks earlier, right around the time he'd been fired from his job at a medical supply company. No forwarding address. No updated registration. He'd gone off the grid. "He's running," Detective Williams said, her jaw tight, "which means he's got something to hide." Marcus felt the familiar weight of urgency pressing on his chest. Every hour mattered. Every minute counted. That afternoon, while processing the backpack scene, Marcus received a call from his wife, Jennifer. "Lily wanted me to call you," Jennifer said, her voice soft. "She's been crying about Emma. She says they're in the same reading group at school. She wanted you to know that Emma is really smart and really brave." Marcus's eyes burned with tears he refused to shed while on duty. His daughter believed in Emma's strength. Maybe that was the perspective he needed. "Tell Lily I'm going to bring her friend home," Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. "I promise." It was a promise he had no business making. Promises like that can break you when you can't keep them. But Marcus felt it in his bones. Emma was alive. She was waiting for someone to find her. And he was going to be that someone. Back in the patrol car, Thor became agitated in a way Marcus had rarely seen. The dog whined, paced, and kept returning to the window, staring out with intense focus. Canine handlers learn to trust their partner's instincts. Dogs sense things humans miss: fear, distress, danger. "What is it, boy?" Marcus asked, following Thor's gaze. They were stopped at a traffic light on Highway 50, a major arterial that cut through Sacramento. Normal morning traffic surrounded them. Commuters heading to work, delivery trucks making their rounds, families in minivans shuttling kids to activities. Then Marcus saw it. 3 cars ahead, a beat-up gray sedan with a cracked rear bumper and expired registration tags. In the back seat, visible through the rear window, was a small figure, a child. Marcus's training kicked in. Don't jump to conclusions. Sacramento had thousands of children. Not every kid in a car was a victim. But Thor saw something else. The dog's body went rigid, his focus laser-sharp on that vehicle. He let out a low, insistent bark, his alert for a person in distress. The light turned green. Marcus made a split-second decision. He radioed his position and began following the gray sedan, maintaining a careful distance. He couldn't see the driver clearly, just the back of a man's head, a baseball cap pulled low. But that child in the back seat. Marcus changed lanes, pulling closer. That's when he saw her face pressed against the window. A little girl with dark hair. She looked pale, frightened. Her eyes were wide and searching. And then she looked directly at him. Their eyes met through 2 panes of glass and 20 feet of distance. In that instant, Marcus saw everything: terror, hope, desperation, and something else: determination. The girl raised her hand slowly, pressing her palm against the window. Marcus's breath caught. Was she waving? Asking for help? Then she did something extraordinary. Emma Rodriguez had been terrified for 16 hours, but she had not given up. The man who'd grabbed her, who'd promised he just wanted to show her some lost puppies behind the store, had been driving for hours, getting further from home with every mile. But Emma remembered something her father had taught her during their safety talks. "If you're ever in trouble," Daniel had said, "find a way to signal for help. Be smart. Be brave." She'd also remembered something she'd seen on TV just weeks earlier, a TikTok video that had gone viral about a hand signal for domestic violence victims. You held up your hand, tucked your thumb into your palm, then folded your fingers over it. It was a silent way to say, "I need help. I'm in danger." Emma didn't know if a police officer would recognize it. She didn't know if anyone would see her at all. But when she spotted the patrol car with the dog in the back, a beautiful German shepherd who reminded her of her cousin's dog, she knew this was her chance. She made the signal. Once, twice, 3 times. Then she mouthed the words, "Help me." Marcus's entire body went cold, then hot, then electric with adrenaline. He knew that signal. Every officer had been trained on it after the pandemic, when domestic violence calls had surged and victims needed subtle ways to communicate distress. But seeing an 8-year-old girl use it, seeing Emma use it, because he was now certain that's who she was, sent a jolt of clarity through him. "Dispatch, this is Unit 7K9, Marcus said, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "I have visual confirmation of possible missing juvenile Emma Rodriguez, eastbound Highway 50 approaching Sunrise Boulevard. Gray sedan, license plate." He squinted, reading off the numbers. Thor was barking now, a fierce protective sound that said he understood the stakes. "Unit 7K9, backup is en route," dispatch responded. "Do not lose visual. Repeat, do not lose visual." Marcus had no intention of losing this car, but he also couldn't spook the driver into doing something desperate. High-speed chases with children in vehicles often ended tragically. He needed to be smart. The sedan began to accelerate. The driver had noticed him. What happened next unfolded in a blur of calculated risk and split-second decisions. The gray sedan swerved into the right lane, cutting off a pickup truck and eliciting angry horn blasts. Marcus followed, activating his lights and sirens. He called out the pursuit over the radio, direction of travel, speed, road conditions. Other units were converging, but they were minutes away. Minutes Emma might not have. The sedan took an exit ramp too fast, tires squealing. Marcus followed, Thor bracing himself in the back seat. The dog's eyes never left the sedan, his protective instincts fully engaged. They wound through a residential neighborhood, speeds creeping up to dangerous levels. Marcus saw Emma in the back window, bouncing with each turn. He saw her fear, but also her faith. She believed he would save her. He couldn't let her down. Then the driver made a mistake. He turned into a dead-end street, a new development where construction had stopped halfway through. Nowhere to go but into a cul-de-sac with unfinished houses. The sedan screeched to a stop. Marcus blocked the exit with his patrol car. For a moment, everything went silent except for Thor's low growl. Gerald Thompson, the man who'd destroyed so many lives already and was trying to destroy one more, sat frozen in the driver's seat. He knew he was trapped. He knew it was over. But trapped people do desperate things. Marcus approached with his weapon drawn, using proper cover behind his door. "Get out of the vehicle with your hands up," he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of absolute authority. Thompson didn't move. "Sir, there is no escape. Additional units are arriving. Exit the vehicle now." In the back seat, Emma was crying. Marcus could see her small shoulders shaking. His heart was being torn in two, the need to apprehend the suspect warring with the desperate desire to simply scoop that child up and promise her she was safe. "I want to speak with the girl," Marcus called out, a tactical gamble. "Emma, can you hear me?" Through the glass, he saw her nod. Emma, you were so brave to give me that signal. You're going to be okay. I need you to do one more brave thing for me. Can you unbuckle your seatbelt very slowly? He saw her small hands move. Click. She was free. Now when I say go, I need you to open your door and run to me as fast as you can. Can you do that? Another nod. That's when Thompson made his move. He threw open his door and started to run toward the back, reaching for Emma's door handle. Now, Emma, now! Marcus shouted. Everything happened in seconds. Emma flung open her door and ran, her legs pumping, her face a mask of determination. Thompson changed direction, chasing after her. And Marcus made the hardest decision of his career. Thor, apprehend! The German Shepherd exploded from the patrol car like a missile. He covered the ground in powerful bounds, his training and instincts fused into pure protective action. Thor intercepted Thompson just as the man reached for Emma, latching onto his arm and taking him to the ground. Emma kept running, straight into Marcus's arms. Marcus holstered his weapon and caught Emma as she collided with him, wrapping his arms around her shaking body. She was crying, gasping, holding on to him like he was the only solid thing in a world that had gone terribly wrong. "You're safe," Marcus whispered into her hair, his own tears falling freely now. "You're safe, Emma. I've got you. You're going home." Behind them, backup arrived, 3 patrol cars blocking off the street. Officers approached Thompson, who lay subdued beneath Thor's guard, and took him into custody. The dog had done his job perfectly, holding without causing serious injury, waiting for his handler's next command. "Thor, release," Marcus called. The dog immediately let go and trotted back to Marcus and Emma, his tail wagging slightly. He approached the girl gently, sniffing her carefully. Emma, still clinging to Marcus, reached out one small hand and touched Thor's head. "Good dog," she whispered. "Good dog." Thor licked her hand once, gentle as a summer breeze, and in that moment, Marcus Chen knew why he'd become a police officer. This moment, this child, this ending that could have been a tragedy but was, instead, a miracle. The reunion between Emma and her parents happened at Sacramento Police Headquarters, in a small room that had witnessed countless emotional moments, but none quite like this. When Maria Rodriguez saw her daughter, alive, safe, walking toward her, she made a sound that was part cry, part prayer, part pure relief. Daniel was right behind her, his face streaked with tears, his hands reaching. They came together as a family, all 3 of them, holding each other like they would never let go. Marcus stood in the doorway, giving them space, his throat tight with emotion. Thor sat beside him, pressed against his leg. "Officer Chen," Maria said through her tears, looking up at him. "You brought her home. You brought our baby home." Marcus shook his head. Emma saved herself. She knew the signal. She was brave enough to use it. She's the hero here. But Emma pulled away from her parents and walked to Marcus. She wrapped her small arms around his waist and said, "Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for not looking away." And that simple statement from an 8-year-old girl who understood that being seen, being noticed, being valued is what saves us. That broke him completely. In the weeks that followed, Emma's story spread far beyond Sacramento. News outlets picked it up. Social media exploded with shares. The hand signal she'd used became even more widely known, potentially saving other victims who would use it in the future. The Sacramento Police Department held a commendation ceremony. Marcus received a Medal of Valor. Thor received a Special Service Award and a steak dinner that made him very happy. But Marcus deflected every bit of praise back to Emma. "She's the one who refused to give up," he told reporters. "She's the one who remembered her training. She's the one who had the courage to signal for help. I just did my job." But doing your job, really doing it with heart and soul and unwavering commitment, is what makes someone a hero. 6 months later, Emma Rodriguez stood in front of a school assembly at Roosevelt Elementary. She was there to teach every student the hand signal that had saved her life. "You never think something bad will happen to you," Emma said, her voice stronger now, healed by time and therapy and love. "But it can happen to anyone. And if it does, you have to be smart. You have to be brave. And you have to believe that good people are out there, watching for your signal." She demonstrated the gesture, palm up, thumb folded in, fingers closed over it. This means, "Help me." This means, "I'm in danger." And somewhere, someone will see you. Someone like Officer Chen and Thor. Someone who won't look away. Marcus was in the audience that day, Thor by his side. His daughter Lily sat next to him, beaming with pride that her dad had saved her friend. When Emma finished her presentation, the entire school stood and applauded. And Emma smiled, a real smile, the kind that reaches the eyes and speaks of resilience and hope and the unbreakable spirit of a child who survived. Today, Emma is thriving. She's back in school, doing well in her classes, and has become a youth advocate for child safety education. The Rodriguez family has partnered with local police departments to spread awareness about safety signals and the importance of teaching children to trust their instincts. Gerald Thompson was sentenced to 45 years in prison with no possibility of parole. Emma never had to testify. His fingerprints on her backpack, the traffic camera footage of the abduction, and his prior record were enough to convict. Marcus Chen continues to serve with the K-9 unit. He speaks at schools alongside Emma sometimes, teaching children about safety and showing them that police officers are there to protect and serve. Thor, now 5 years old, is still his faithful partner, still alert, still ready to protect the vulnerable. But the real legacy of that November day is something more profound than medals or news stories. It's the reminder that heroes walk among us. They're the officers who don't give up. They're the dogs who sense danger and act. They're the children who refuse to be victims. And they're each of us when we choose to pay attention, to notice the signals, to be the person who doesn't look away. Emma Rodriguez gave a signal, and Officer Marcus Chen saw it. But the real message of this story isn't just about that one moment of connection between a desperate child and a dedicated officer. It's about all of us. Every day, people around us are giving signals, signs that they need help, that they're struggling, that they're in danger. Sometimes those signals are obvious. Sometimes they're as subtle as a hand gesture in a car window. The question is, are we watching? Are we willing to see? Are we prepared to act? Marcus Chen didn't have to follow that car. He could have assumed it was nothing. But he trusted his partner, trusted his instincts, and trusted that a child's signal meant something. And because of that trust, because of that action, a little girl got to go home. So here's my challenge to you. Learn the hand signal Emma used. Share it with your friends, your family, your children. Be the person who watches for signs that someone needs help. Be the person who doesn't look away. Because we're all capable of being heroes. We just have to choose it. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and share it with everyone you know. Subscribe for more stories of courage, hope, and everyday heroes. And drop a comment below telling me, what signals are you going to watch for in your community? Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay aware, and remember, someone might be waiting for you to see their signal.